to conclude. Deputy Denise Mitchell sharing with Deputy Ellis.
Deputy Ellis. I want to start off by saying I'm very disappointed to see Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil will be opposing this bill, which is aimed at tackling the scourge, the absolute scourge of scramblers and quad misuse. It's an issue, I'm sure, that has been raised on the doors to all TDs across all parties by their constituents. Minister, it's totally unfair that residents are being kept up all hours of the night by these vehicles tearing through their estates. It's totally unfair that local football and GAA teams show up to play a match on a Saturday or a Sunday to find that their pitch has been tore up by scramblers. It's also totally unfair that parents are afraid to let their children play out in local green spaces because of the dangers of scramblers. I've seen it myself, Count Corla. Young teenagers driving down the wrong side of the road on one wheel. It's extremely dangerous and it's just not on. And we've seen it in my own local area of Darndale, where people have been very seriously injured by these vehicles being used in our local parks and green spaces. Minister, there were 62 people injured this year or last year by scramblers. Now, I've heard some say that this legislation is unnecessary and the Gardaí already have the powers to deal with this issue. But in some cases they don't, because there is a grey area in terms of the use of these vehicles, in example, in our local authority parks, which are subject to local bylaws. We also have the cases where waste ground or greens may in fact be privately owned. I want to acknowledge that there are a number of groups, of scrambler and quad groups, who do operate in a reasonable manner. But what I'm talking about here is vehicles that are being used on our roads, on our footpaths and in our public spaces. When it comes to the misuse of these vehicles, there is also conflicting reports from Gardaí and from ministers as to what power the Gardaí have to combat this issue. And I think we need some clear direction has to be issued on this matter. It's also incredibly difficult for the Gardaí to intervene or pursue people without making the situation even more dangerous. And I understand that. So, with that being the case, the focus needs to be on seizing these vehicles. Minister, I drive a car, I've tax, I've insurance, I've a licence, I wear a seatbelt and I drive in a safe manner. But here we have people who are driving these bikes who aren't insured, who haven't got road tax and who aren't even wearing helmets, yet nothing seems to be done. Plus, to top it off, they're an absolute nuisance to those neighbours living in their local estates. Parents who are buying these vehicles for children who are under the age of 16 are breaking the law. These parents need to have a bit of cop on and realise that they're not only putting their own children at risk, but they're also endangering the lives of others. I acknowledge you're saying there's a working group looking at this, but when will we see effective enforcement coming into place? Because this matter is getting worse and worse, and Minister, I would plead with you to seriously get a grip on this situation. Gura Mahagat.